how are we asking for Canadian experience from newcomers who have literally just arrived in Canada, and there's no other way for them to get that Canadian experience until they actually are hired for the job. So I asked them some questions and I actually found some very interesting insights that I'm very happy to share with you. Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel Start, Grow, Pivot, where we help aspiring and new skilled immigrants like you work smarter and not harder to achieve their career and business goals here in Canada. Let's get started. Now in today's video, we're tackling a big one: Canadian experience explained by HR professionals and hiring managers. Now, lack of Canadian experience is a phrase that every newcomer dreads to hear when searching for a job, because it represents something that they obviously cannot have as they just moved to Canada. But we hear a lot of new immigrants complain that they hear that phrase over and over again after they go for an interview and they don't receive that call back. The number one reason that they are given is lack of Canadian experience. And research shows that lack of Canadian experience is something that new immigrants have heard from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 months. Is something that new immigrants continue to keep hearing as a reason why they did not get the job. And so I've always wanted to dig a little deeper, and I researched and reached out to my HR friends and HR professionals to ask them a number of questions that I'm going to take you through and listen to what they said. 83% of the HR professionals that I reached out to said Canadian experience is somewhat important, but these things are more important than Canadian experience. And they were effective communication, a positive attitude and professionalism, interpersonal skills, adaptability, teachability, and cultural fit. So in my research, what I found was that HR professionals and hiring managers tend to use the phrase lack of Canadian experience when they mean positive attitude, professionalism, teachability, cultural fit, interpersonal skills, and effective communication that I find is one of the most important things that hiring managers and HR professionals are looking out for as they're interviewing you. If you come across as a poor communicator, that just gets lumped in with lack of Canadian experience. So we have to break this down further. So what Canadian experience actually means to HR professionals is a number of things. One person said it means having Canadian or local references that they can reach out to verify your skill sets, or to verify basically who you are as a person and who you will be as a part of their team. To another person, Canadian experience is having a good understanding of the Canadian culture, having a good understanding of the work norms and the work culture. And that is not necessarily Canadian, but to the company's work culture, to the industry work culture. So being able to demonstrate that for them is Canadian experience. Not necessarily having years of work experience in Canada, but being able to understand how the Canadian industry works, and especially in certain roles where you are customer facing, being able to really show that you understand the Canadian customer, or you understand the target customer, and you understand how to communicate and effectively deliver value to the Canadian customer in that context. And as many of the hiring managers and HR professionals shared with me, Canadian experience does not necessarily mean working in a company, but it could be volunteering, it could be working in a community center, it could be just engaging in your community in other ways to show that you have really gotten a good grasp of Canadian culture and a good grasp of what it would be like to work in a Canadian setting. And so Canadian experience, while working in a company is literally the definition, there are other ways in which HR professionals believe that you can demonstrate and show that Canadian experience during your interview process. So another question I ask is, how important is Canadian experience, and what is important about Canadian experience? And the answer is that having local references, having a reference point, having a way for them to be able to refer. And one of the things that I advise people to speak in Canadian terms when you're referring to your work experience, or when you're referring to a particular experience. If you are working for the top telco company in your country in West Africa, compare it to the top telco company in Canada or in the province, so that they can get a sense of the size of the company you work for. Do your research there. So you would say, this company that I work for has 50,000 employees, similar to size of this company, and they have X number of offices across the world, and this company also has X number of offices across the world. So try to give a reference point that they can see and understand what you're talking about when you mention certain companies that might not be known in Canada, but it gives them a reference point that helps them understand that you understand the kind of companies that are in Canada, so that they can put two and two together. And local references you can get from your community centers by volunteering at different organizations, by belonging to different industry organizations, and meeting people who will be able to vouch for you and who will be able to share their experience working with you. And it gives HR practitioners and hiring managers the peace of mind to know that there is a local reference point for your work experience. Also, in understanding where hiring managers and HR professionals come from is the risk involved. There's less risk involved in hiring somebody with Canadian experience, knowing the industry, the policies, and the laws, and you are seen as a more risky candidate. So whatever you can do to show them that you have studied and you have researched the various policies and laws, and that most people don't realize that some of our countries have very similar laws and very similar policies. So set their mind at ease to let them know how much research that you have done. It takes a little bit more work, but for the people who are trying to show that they are less of a risk because they are well versed in the laws and in the policies. That might not be possible for some professional careers where you have to go and get additional accreditation and you have to go and take additional courses in order to be able to work. But on the more general roles, you just have to show a very strong understanding of the laws and the policies that govern Canada as a whole, and that you will be abiding by them, and that they don't have to spend a lot of time and energy and money training you in these laws and these policies. If you like this video, make sure you like it, share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get our new videos every week. And share in the comments if you have any more questions for me. If there's any other videos that you would like me to do, topics that you're interested in, please, I read the comments and I'm ready to answer and do a video that will be valuable and interesting to you and to help you achieve your career and business goals here in Canada. Thank you for watching, and see you next week. Bye.